Every year, somewhere between $800 billion and $2 trillion of criminal money simply vanishes. Not into a vault, into the open economy. Your bank, your city's apartments, the cash register at the corner shop. It goes in dirty, it comes out clean. That isn't a metaphor, it's an industry, and it runs entirely on paper. Here's the problem every criminal faces. You can steal $1 million, but you can't spend it. Buy a house with a suitcase of cash, and someone asks a question you can't answer. So the money needs a story. A clean, boring, provable story about where it came from. Building that story takes 3 steps, just 3. And every operation on Earth, from a street dealer to a billion-dollar cartel, uses the same ones. Step 1, placement. Get the cash into the system without setting off alarms. You break it into amounts small enough to look ordinary. You run it through businesses that are supposed to be full of cash. A car wash, a nail salon, a restaurant. And on paper, the dirty money just becomes a very good week of sales. There's a number that rules this entire step, $10,000. Any cash transaction over that line, and the bank files a report with the government, automatically, no discretion. That threshold was set in 1970, and it has never moved. Back then, $10,000 bought what roughly 80,000 buys today. The tripwire keeps sinking lower, and launderers know exactly where it sits, so they deposit 9,000. Then 9,000 again, across town. Different branches, different days, different names. It's called structuring. And here's the twist. Breaking up your deposits to dodge the report is a federal crime all by itself. Even if the money is legal, 5 years in prison, 10 if it's part of a bigger pattern. The paperwork rule has teeth. Keep that image. Small deposits ducking under a line, because by the end of this, you'll see the same trick scaled up through one small bank branch in Estonia, moving more money than most countries earn in a year. That's coming. Step 2, layering. This is the part that gives the whole thing its name, the wash. You move the money again and again until the trail is too tangled to follow, wire it to a shell company in one country, from there to another. Buy something, sell it, split it, recombine it, cross a border, and you've crossed into a new set of rules and a new set of records, because the goal isn't secrecy exactly, it's distance. Enough steps between the crime and the cash that no single investigator at no single bank can ever see the whole picture. The workhorse of layering is the shell company, a business that exists only on paper. A name, a mailbox, a bank account, no employees, no product, no office. In some places, you can set one up in an afternoon. And until recently, in many of them, nobody recorded who actually owned it. And when wires look too risky, there's an older trick. Trade. One company sells another a shipping container of goods and simply lies about the price on the invoice. Overpay for cheap goods and money slides across a border wearing a customs form. The global anti-money laundering body, the FATF, calls it trade-based money laundering, and it flags it as one of the hardest channels on earth to police. Because on the surface, it is just trade. Step 3, integration. The money comes home, clean. It arrives as a real estate purchase, a business investment, a luxury watch, a loan you make to yourself. Now it's spendable. And on paper, it's legitimate. The wash is complete. Remember the cold open? Your city's apartments. Real estate is integration's favorite door. An anonymous company pays all cash for a condo. No mortgage, no bank underwriting, no loan officer asking questions. The building gets a ghost owner. The neighborhood gets higher prices. And the dirty money gets a deed. American regulators found this pattern so persistent They now force title companies in major markets to unmask the humans behind all cash corporate purchases, an order they've had to keep renewing for nearly a decade. If that sounds abstract, here's what it looks like at full scale, with the receipts. 2012, HSBC, one of the largest banks on earth. For years, Mexico's Sinaloa cartel moved so much cash through the bank's Mexican branches that, according to US investigators, they had boxes built to a specific size, wide enough to fit exactly through the teller windows. Think about that. The cartel engineered its packaging around the bank's furniture. The bank admitted it failed to stop it. It paid $1.92 billion, the largest penalty of its kind at the time, for breaking American banking and sanctions law. One case, all three steps, placement in Mexico, layering through the world's financial plumbing, integration into the legitimate economy, running through a bank millions of people trusted with their paychecks. And if you're thinking a $2 billion penalty back in 2012 must have fixed the system, here's Estonia, Danske Bank, Denmark's biggest lender. It ran one small branch in the city of Tallinn. Between 2007 and 2015, that one branch processed roughly $160 billion for customers who didn't live in Estonia at all, many of them high-risk clients from Russia and its neighbors, moving money through accounts the bank itself later admitted it couldn't vouch for. One branch, a country whose entire economy back then produced less than a fifth of that in a year. And the money didn't stay in Estonia. It was cleared onward through big partner banks in the United States, which is exactly why Washington could reach it. December 2022. Danske Bank pleads guilty in an American court, not to a technicality, to conspiracy to commit bank fraud. It forfeits about $2 billion. And here's the thing, the scheme wasn't a hack. It wasn't a heist. It was paperwork. The bank told its American partners its Estonian customers were fine. The paper said otherwise. So how does any of it get caught? The same way it's done, on paper. In the United States, every bank is, by law, a watchman. When a transaction looks wrong, the bank quietly files something called a suspicious activity report to a federal unit called FinCEN, usually within 30 days, and the customer is never told. One report proves nothing, but investigators stitch thousands of them together across hundreds of institutions until a shape appears in the noise. That web of paper is what eventually caught the bank, and it's the reason your own bank asks where a large deposit came from. Which brings us to the part of this that can actually happen to you, because the system you just watched, placement, layering, integration, is constantly recruiting, and its favorite recruit is someone who has no idea they've joined. Law enforcement calls them money mules. The FBI's files are full of the same script. A work-from-home job lands in your inbox, payment processing, financial coordinator, easy money, no experience needed, and the employer writes from a free webmail address. The job? Money arrives in your bank account. You keep a cut, you forward the rest. As transfers, as gift cards. Congratulations, you're the layering step, or it's someone you met on a dating app. A few warm weeks in, they need to route a payment through your account, just this once. Same machine, softer entry, the red flags are almost boringly consistent. Anyone whose job offer involves your bank account, anyone paying you to receive and forward money, anyone who needs a company formed or an account opened in your name, for reasons they keep vague. Refusing is not paranoia. Passing along money you can't explain is the crime itself, whether or not you knew. People have gone from job seeker to federal defendant on exactly this. So when it shows up, and it may, you close the door, and you report it. Here's the part worth sitting with. That $2 trillion estimate, it's a floor. The money we can only guess at. And the same machinery that hides a cartel's profits moves money for sanctioned states. for scammers, for anyone who needs a clean story, and of the money we can see, authorities freeze less than 1%. By the United Nations' own estimate, closer to 1/5%, which means the forms you fill out, the transfers that get held, the questions that feel like a hassle, that isn't bureaucracy for its own sake. It's the paper trail, doing the one thing it's built to do, making the clean story a little harder to write